Isn't it interesting how natural it seems for us to just listen to all the noise and think that we're supposed to follow along and compare ourselves to what everybody else is doing and bury ourselves in a bunch of should do's or shouldn't do's and judgment, thinking that what others are up to must be right for us. And yet, when we get these ideas, these creative urges, we hear voices, we get a gut feeling about what's really right for us and our path, for so many of us, our automatic reaction is to think that's irresponsible or silly. And in some senses, I can understand that, because a lot of times what will happen is you'll get one of these creative ideas or urges, and you'll only sort of get the seed of the idea, but you won't really know what the whole thing means. You can only find that out by taking the next step, and that takes a lot of trust. So we think that following along with others must be safer and makes more sense. How's that working out for us? Now, I'm reminded of one of my favorite films at this time of the year. While I'm recording this, it's springtime, and we're just on the doorstep of another baseball season. So I'm thinking of Field of Dreams, one of my favorite movies ever, and there are a lot of great moments in that flick. Anyone who's ever seen it can't help but be touched by the ending when Kevin Costner plays catch with his dad. But that's not my favorite part. See, in that film, like what I was just mentioning, Kevin Costner gets these ideas. He actually is hearing voices, and he's frustrated because he knows that he's hearing them, but he doesn't initially know what they mean. And even though everybody thinks he's crazy, and even he thinks he's a little crazy, he decides to follow them. One thing leads to the next, and he ends up in Boston, connecting with a character played by James Earl Jones. They go to a baseball game at Fenway Park. And at that game, Kevin Costner's character hears a voice, and he sees something that he doesn't think that James Earl Jones sees. So he goes and he drops Jones back off, says thank you. James Earl Jones asks him, "You heard another voice? What did it say?" And Kevin Costner says, "It says he's done enough, leave the man alone." Drops him off and gets prepared to leave. He's driving a VW van, and he loops it in a U-turn in the street in downtown Boston. And as he turns all the way around, there, standing in the middle of the street, is James Earl Jones. And he says, "Moonlight Graham." And Kevin Costner slams the steering wheel and he says, "You saw it!" James Earl Jones says, "Saw what?" Kevin Costner's getting out of the van all excited. "You saw it! New York Giants, 1922. He played one game, he never got to bat. You saw it!" And James Earl Jones, genuinely confused, says, "What did I see, Ray?" And Kevin Costner says, "Chisholm, Minnesota. We were the only ones who saw it. It's all right to admit it. It's what told me to find you. Did you hear the voice?" James Earl Jones says, "Go the distance." "Yes. Do you know what it means?" "Yes. It means we're going to Chisholm, Minnesota to find Moonlight Graham." I love that scene. It's my favorite. I never get tired of it. It makes me emotional just thinking about it, because it's like watching somebody finally uncovering, after all these years and all these layers of muck and crap and judgment and thought that we put upon ourselves, finally understand and embrace and act upon who they really are without knowing what lies ahead. They decide to go for it anyway. You know, we can keep listening to all the noise. We can keep doing what we think we're supposed to, what we should do, and try to be like everybody else. But I'm finding out that's not the way to find your field of dreams.